Hello and welcome back to Bookfighters, Bookfighters 2.0 if you will, and it is so good to be back. And I want to start by saying that if you don't know what I'm talking about and you don't know what we're doing here, and maybe you watched our exploits last year and don't quite know what we're up to now, or maybe you are stumbling across this video for the first time, there will be a link here to tell you all that you need to know. So you've all been reading and hopefully read Moby-Dick. There will be spoilers throughout, it goes without saying, and let's begin. It is quite difficult to put into words exactly how much I love this book. And every part of me wants to make some overarching superlative statement like Moby-Dick is the best book ever written in the English language, but I can't make that statement because I've nowhere near read enough of the main players to say that. But what I can say is that this book is the best book I have ever read. From its scope, to its beauty, to its profound sadness, I love it all. In particular, I love the deep philosophical questions that it constantly asks. And so did D.H. Lawrence, who, in a critique of Moby-Dick, said, if life is a tragedy, or a farce, or anything else, what do I care? And for me, this question gets right to the heart of the issue. We are constantly presented with characters who are face to face with their apparent insignificance. In the endless kind of waters of the Atlantic, the Pequod sails not as a ship, not really, but as a speck, as a kind of really small detail in the otherwise vast and uncaring blueness. For me, and I'll be interested to hear what everyone else thinks, Melville is always putting forward that we should care a lot, and that we should care for a number of things, because if we don't, then, well, then we're Ahab. In my second favourite chapter of the book, which is chapter 22, which is the chapter Merry Christmas, we are shown Peleg and Bildad, the owners of the Pequod, and we are shown them setting up, ready for the voyage. These two characters could be many things in this chapter. They could be excited at the prospect of a new voyage. They could be proud of the ship that they put together. They could be proud of the crew that they have put together. They could be nervous that the crew will fail and they won't get paid. They could be all of these things, but they're not. What they are is sad. As for Peleg himself, he took it more like a philosopher. But for all his philosophy, there was a tear twinkling in his eye when the lantern came too near. And he, too, did not a little run from cabin to deck. They want to go, like, they have spent all their lives in this business, and it wasn't since they were just kind of young men that they were out there with a crew, sharing a goal and sharing a skill set and all the things, all the wonderful things that we're presented with about the whaling voyage, like they've experienced, and now they just don't anymore, and they're sad about it. But my point ultimately is not that they are sad, it's that they are sad and yet they're still okay. For as much time that they put into that life of theirs, and for the amount of time that it was so central to them, they're okay. And they're okay because they found other things in their lives to care for. They have children and wives at home. They have decided that they're going to stay involved in the business, so instead of going out on the voyages, they set them up. They have things to teach and they have things to learn, and they are just getting on with life because they care for a variety of different things. They care for a lot, and that's why they're okay with this in the end. But Ahab, well, Ahab is different. Ahab is tragic, and it's not that he doesn't care enough. Like, no one cares more than Ahab. It's simply the singularity of his vision. Both the centre and the sole proprietor of Ahab's world is Moby-Dick. All Ahab is, in the end, is his obsession. Ahab lets everything else drift away. He's got nothing else in the end. Come on, old shipmate, we must go, Peleg says to Bildad. And because Bildad has other things in his life that he cares for, Bildad follows. Away with me, let's fly these deadly waters, Starbuck says to Ahab. And because the deadly waters are all that Ahab has, he crosses the deck and looks over the other side. That's my take on it anyway. That is what Melville is saying to me. He's saying care, and care vastly about different things, and that is like the kind of metaphor for the book for me. Like, the book is so many different things. It's a dictionary, It's a kind of encyclopedia. It's informative. It's about reading. It's about adventure. It's about all of these wonderful things, and I care about all of them. And I think that's the ultimate metaphor in the book for me, and it was when I was reading it, and it is when I thought about it critically afterwards. Now feel free to make a comment or a video response, and they will be featured throughout the month as part of this kind of ongoing discussion. And whilst you are doing that, you can be reading, well, actually you can't quite be reading the book for next month, because the book for next month is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, which comes out on the 10th of this month. So if you haven't pre-ordered it yet, pre-order it and read it for February 1st, or whatever day in February is, the kind of Monday. And yes, good. And finally, Lauren, you have no idea how good it feels for me to say this again, but I'll see you tomorrow.